Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be ranking salt, air, and the rust on your freaking door, y'all. Today we are going to be ranking the ships from the show The Summer I Turned Pretty. Now, I actually have done this exact video before. Gasp. 3 years ago, when the very first season of The Summer I Turned Pretty came out, I ranked the ships from the show as well as from the books with my friend Aoife. The way I did it just wasn't the best executed because number one, only the first season of the show was out. Number two, I had read all 3 books, but Aoife had only read the first 2 books. So there were so many things that I couldn't talk about that happened in the 3rd book that I didn't want to spoil for her, but also for the people that had only seen the first season of the show. The 3rd season is currently airing as I'm filming this. Episode 5 was the last episode that came out. Such a good episode, by the way. So I figured I would do a little re-rank and include, more ships that have come from the previous seasons. And today I'm going to try my best to stick to just the show because I do feel that the show and the books do differ. And so I think it'll just be simpler to just focus on the show and rank these ships just purely based on what we have seen happen in the show, not so much what happens in the books. So I'm gonna do my best with that. But without further ado, let's get into the tiers for our tier list. Starting from the bottom, we have the tier IWRHHSSMITHWANGRTHTWTTOTCOTCTAN, which of course stands for I would rather have had someone shoot me in the head with a nail gun repeatedly than have to watch the two of them cuddling on the couch together all night. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. I would rather shoot myself in the head with a nail gun than have these ships kind of come to fruition. Then right above that, we have belly flop. So famously in the show, the boys like to throw Belly into the pool as an annual belly flop.
It's time for a belly flop!
And these ships are flops. These are just not good. They didn't hit, didn't work. They are belly flops. And right above that, we have It's Nice to Have a Friend.
It's nice to have a friend.
This tier is for ships that, I do think on some level they work. They have more platonic vibes than romantic vibes. You don't need to be romantic. It's nice to have a friend. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, I'm wearing my Taylor Swift cardigan because Taylor Swift and The Summer I Turned Pretty really go together hand in hand, I feel like. Then right above that, we have This Is 100% Your Look.
This is 100% your look, Connie baby.
This is for ships that were very, very good, very enjoyable, really loved their vibes, and they were giving 100%. They were showing up and showing out, if you will. And then right above that, we have the very top tier, and this tier is Susanna would have wanted this. All the people in the show always like to say this. Susanna would have wanted this. Susanna would have wanted that. Well, I'm putting that to the test, and my very top tier are the ships that I feel Susanna would have wanted. That is our tiers. I know I said I'm ranking all of the ships from The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I'm going to try and stick to all the ships that have actually had romantic connotations. So people that have been romantically paired together or have romantic vibes of some sort. So I'm not going to be branching off into anything too crazy or random or extreme for the most part. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. Okay, starting off strong, we are starting off with Belly and Cam Cameron. I love Cam Cameron. He is just such a sweetie pie. He was just so kind to Belly, never a foot out of line with Cam Cameron. They definitely, I guess, were maybe lacking in the chemistry department. I didn't necessarily feel like the sparks flying, right? It was just kind of like, oh, this is sweet. This is cute. If it had been me, would I have broken things off with Cam Cameron? No, definitely not. No. I'm gonna put this in, this is 100% your look because I love Cam Cameron, but I do think ultimately they weren't meant to be together. Love Cam Cameron. He's top tier. Team Cam Cameron, to be completely honest. And speaking of season 1, we have Steven and Shayla up next. This was a season 1 relationship that was very unexpected. They kind of came from different economic backgrounds, if you will. Yeah, they were very sweet. A real life life romance came from this, I believe. I believe those actors are still dating in real life, so that's very cool. They obviously have good chemistry. They definitely had their issues. I do think at the end of the day, they maybe just didn't have the most in common. It was kind of like, what are you two actually gonna, you know, talk about on a daily basis? I'm not sure. And it always came back to money. It always came back to money with those two, which is tricky. But I'll put it in, this is 100% your look, because, you know, I wasn't mad at it. I definitely wasn't mad at it. And again, speaking of season 1, next up we have Conrad and Nicole. And I don't know. I didn't know about this one. I mean, obviously Conrad was not in the best place mentally, so he did not treat her the greatest, I would say. Again, similarly to Shayla and Steven, it was kind of like, I don't know what you two are going to be talking about on a daily basis. You don't seem to have a ton in common. I'm not even sure that you completely enjoy each other's presences. I wouldn't even necessarily say that they would be good friends. It was messy. It was definitely very messy. Just didn't love it. Did not love the vibes going on with this one. I would probably put this in belly flop, to be honest.
It's time for belly flop.
Next we have Susanna and Laurel. This I would say is one of our first ones on the list that is pretty top tier for me. Like, let's be honest, those two girlies are gay. They are so in love. Like, I just don't, there's really no other explanation for it. Like, they literally say multiple times throughout the show that they were soulmates. And like at one point, John is like, yeah, I always knew there was somebody else like in our relationship, in our marriage, and that was Susanna. They have so much history and so much love. Like, you can just feel it when they look at each other. It just was absolutely devastating, heartbreaking, watching Laurel have to go through losing Susanna. Wrap it up, y'all, wrap it up. I think they could have lived a lovely life together. They should have honestly divorced their husbands and moved to cousins and just lived happily ever after. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of the show was their relationship and their friendship. It's slightly all jokes, you know, when we're talking about those two are gay, but in all honesty, like, I loved the depiction of the female friendship. Like, female friendships are really deep and strong and can last a lifetime, so it was really like cool to see that depicted in a show so well. I mean, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious this is going in. Susanna would have wanted this. They break my heart and I love them so much. They might be the ultimate ship of the show. They might be number 1, to be completely honest. Okay, sticking with the theme of the parents, next up we have Laurel and Cleveland. Yeah, they were fine. They maybe got like a little bit too freaky for my liking, like just on the screen. It was like kind of like jarring, right? It was like, whoa, Laurel, what's going on? But other than that, like, Cleveland was nice. They had a lot in common because they were both authors, and it was fun for Laurel. I was very happy for her to like have something to like take her mind off of everything that was going on and just like have a bit of fun. I would say it's nice to have a friend for them. I think they work better as friends with benefits even, but anything beyond that, just not necessary. Then next up we have Susanna and Adam. Oh my god, Adam is the worst. Famously, he did cheat on Susanna while she was going through cancer. So yeah, he's kind of the worst. He treats pretty much everybody pretty horribly, I would say. Oh, don't even get me started. Season 2, the whole debacle with the house. Yeah, he's awful. I cannot believe Susanna was ever married to him. I just feel horrible for her that she ended up having to stay with him for circumstantial reasons, right? For her kids and for everything that she was going through with her cancer and everything. So I think it's very clear I hate this ship. In the bottom tier, because I would rather shoot myself with a nail gun.
I would rather have someone shoot me in the head with a nail gun.
Yeah, Adam can choke. Now, next up, we have Laurel and John. This has been such an unexpected, but honestly welcome development. I've really, really enjoyed this. So Laurel and John, they were married. They are the parents of Belly and Steven, but then they ended up getting a divorce, but it seemed to be a very It seemed to be a very amicable, a very amicable divorce. They were still like on good terms, still friends, all that. But then in season 3, But then in season 3, and I even kind of picked up on these vibes earlier on in like season 2 as well. But in season 3, these two are kind of rekindling. Okay, the sparks are kind of flying again. I'm feeling tension. I'm feeling what if, you know? And yeah, Laurel kind of explains, you know, that he didn't necessarily do anything wrong, you know, their marriage wasn't necessarily wrong. It was just that they got married so young and she just kind of lost herself in it. And that's kind of the whole conflict with Belly in season 3 between her and Laurel, is Laurel doesn't want the same thing to happen to Belly, so on and so forth, etc., etc. Time has passed. Laurel and John, you know, they're different people now. And I kind of feel like they would be a good match to rekindle, get back together, you know, like let's get this magic going again. Yeah, Laurel and John are borderline. Susanna would have wanted this, but I'm gonna put it in this is 100% your look. I don't know, we'll have to see how that plays out. Like I said, I'm filming this at the time when only the first 5 episodes of season 3 have come out, so we'll see how it goes, but I definitely would not be mad if Laurel and John get together and end up together. Okay, next up we're doing, you know, a little season 2 vibes. We're gonna be going with Cam Cameron and Sky. Now, I know Sky got, you know, a lot of hate during season 2 when season 2 was airing. Here's what I'll say. I was so happy to see Cam Cameron back. And so if the only way we can get Cam Cameron back on the show was to have him paired with Sky, I'll take it. I just didn't necessarily see the romantic sparks, the romantic connection there that the show was trying to push. I think ultimately Sky and Cam Cameron just worked better as friends. I liked, you know, that they were bonding over their shared interests, their kind of geeky interests, if you will. I thought that was nice. I think ultimately they work better as friends, so I'm gonna put it in it's nice to have a friend. I think they would be like really cute besties, but just not really seeing the romantic connection there personally. Although the first kiss was very sweet, like I'm glad Sky got to like have her first kiss or their first kiss with somebody that they were comfortable with. Cam Cameron's a king, but yeah. I just feel like they work better as friends. And speaking of season 2, the next up we have Milo and Taylor. So Milo was Taylor's boyfriend in season 2. They had gotten together prior to that season starting. He was such a funny random character. Honestly, like loved the whole rapping bit. Honestly, why do you kind of eat with getting even with Steven?
One time I saw you without a shirt. I bet you can't do a pull-up.
Obviously, ultimately, like this relationship was just not good. Didn't have any real substance to it. I was happy for my girl Taylor that she was, you know, living life, having fun, but yeah, this was never gonna be end game. Ultimately, we are gonna be putting this in belly flop. It was a bit of a flop relationship, but again, you gotta give the guy props for getting even with Steven. Like, that was kind of iconic. We'll give him that. And speaking of Steven, next up we have Steven and Taylor, Staylor, if you will. I love this ship. I mean, I called this back in season 1. I said there's something a brewing there, and I'm just so happy with how it has developed. I just think they have really, really good chemistry, and they're just very compatible. They both have such similar senses of humor and like know when to like just have fun, and I don't know, I just love them. I think they're so fun. They're a nice like side plot romance to like the big love triangle, which we'll get there. And yeah, I like the like best friend's brother trope going on. I don't love the development in season 3 of them like cheating on other people with each other. I didn't love that whole plot line. I get it, like the show's just trying to drag it out, right? So make it a little bit more of a slow burn. But we know that Staylor is endgame, right? Like there's just no other way. Yeah, I think obviously I'm putting this in Susanna would have wanted this. I do think Susanna would have wanted this. Here's hoping everything works out in season 3. I mean, we've already had the car accident scare. If only they would communicate. So much on this show would be solved with just some simple conversations, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, getting a little bit more into the season 3 category. Next up, we have Jeremiah and Lacey. Oh boy. Okay. I'm not gonna dive too much into this yet because my thoughts on Jeremiah will go more in depth on that when we get to the big three. But here's what I'll say. They disgust me. The Cabo situation is just so messed up. The way she just wasn't even sorry about it, by the way. Like, she was flaunting that in front of Belly, which is just so rude. Like, keep that to yourself, my girl. Honestly, they deserve each other in some aspects because they're just both annoying. They just piss me off. Yeah, it just really pisses me off, to be completely honest. How are you gonna go and cheat on your girlfriend of 4 years twice? Wrap it up. Although, thank you, Jenny Han, for playing Lacey by Olivia Rodrigo during that scene. Like, that's cinema. That's art. I'm putting this in, I would rather shoot myself in the head with a nail gun. Like, I don't want to see that, you know? Get that away from me. Ugh. And next up, we have Conrad and Agnes. And again, this is a season 3 development. They met in medical school, college time in California. I have such mixed feelings. Like, sometimes I'm like, yes, Agnes, she's a baddie, pop off. But then sometimes I'm like, Agnes, shh, girl, like, sometimes you're a little too blunt. They've alluded to the fact that it seems Agnes did have feelings for Conrad, but those feelings were not reciprocated. And girl, I feel for you there. Unrequited love, that's tough. But I love them as friends. I really like them as friends. I'm glad Conrad has had somebody that he can like talk to honestly in California. But yeah, I just don't feel the romantic spark personally. I think they're definitely platonic friends. So I'm gonna be putting this in, it's nice to have a friend. Go friendship, woo! And next up, we have another season 3 development, and this is Steven and Denise. This is a new development, a workplace romantic tension, if you will, workplace rivals, which is a trope I love. So like, it's very confusing to me because I love Staylor. I love Steven and Taylor so much. But then like, Steven comes in flirting it up with Denise, and I'm just I'm confused. I'm like, wait, the enemies to lovers. Wait, the workplace rivals. So yeah, that's been very confusing for me, and I do feel that they do have romantic tension and they do have a bit of chemistry. I mean, I could see a world in which they work. They've grabbed my attention with their tension, if that makes sense. So I do think it is past platonic, and I think I'm gonna put this in, this is 100% your look. Ooh, don't get mad at me, Steven and Taylor fans. Steven and Taylor endgame for sure. And next up, another season 3 development, we have Jeremiah and Redbird. Now, Jeremiah and Redbird are frat brothers, besties, and there hasn't been necessarily romantic connotations with this pairing yet. I firmly believe this could be in development because let's just not forget Jeremiah is bi, okay? So he could date Redbird if he wanted to. They clearly get along well and are on the same wavelength. Maybe just are more compatible than Jeremiah and some other people, which I'll get into soon. You know, we don't know Redbird's sexual orientation or anything like that. There has not been any mention of any girlfriend though, so we can't rule it out. Again, I'm filming this before season 3 is over, so this is kind of almost a prediction ranking. I think this could be a long-term end game that is far off, but we haven't seen it yet, but I think this could be it. I think this is what Susanna would have wanted for Jeremiah. Find somebody that wants to let loose and have fun just like him, and maybe, you know, just leave some other people alone. Right? All right, I think it's time to get into what everybody ultimately came to this video for, and that's the big 3. Conrad, Belly, Jeremiah. The big love triangle. Who's she gonna pick? Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah. This is it, y'all. I mean, this is literally what pretty much the entire show is about. Like I said, I'm gonna try to just base this off the show and not the books. What I will say, when I read the books, because the books, for the most part, you are only getting a very narrow view of all the characters, because it's mostly told from Belly's perspective. For the first 2, I could honestly go either way. I could have gone Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah. I was okay with both. Like, I saw the pros and cons to both. Now, book 3 things changed. And with the show, this just hasn't been the case, because with the show you are getting to see, you know, things from pretty much everybody's perspective, and you're getting to see things that Belly doesn't see, that Conrad doesn't see, that Jeremiah doesn't see. You get to see, you know, all their motivations and everything like that. And so for the show, I am Team Conrad. Yeah, I'm Team Conrad. Belly and Conrad, they are infinite, y'all. Like, they have set this up so beautifully, so perfectly. I think it's been just such a great arc, because I do understand Belly's hesitance even now in season 3, because of, you know, she was hurt by Conrad in the first couple of seasons. I mean, obviously he had so much going on, but that doesn't necessarily excuse like how that made Belly feel, you know? So I totally understand her hesitance to not want to be hurt again, because she was very hurt, because she was so in love. Like, they just have so much chemistry, so much more chemistry than her and Jeremiah. And season 3 so far has been so fun getting to see Conrad like yearn, because currently she is with Jeremiah. Oh, Jeremiah. I mean, like, what do I even say about Jeremiah? Like, season 1, it wasn't that bad, in my opinion. Did he shoot a firework off at them? Yes. And that wasn't cool. But I still feel that like he didn't like cross in too many lines in season 1, and you could see that they do have like an actual friendship, and I do think like relationships born out of friendships can be really good. But then as the show progresses, I mean, this guy just becomes insufferable. Like, he just really does. Like, he's just, oh my gosh, especially season 3, like, it is so hard to sit through scenes with Belly and Jeremiah. They're so annoying. Oh my god, and when Jeremiah came home, honey, I'm home. If that guy sings one more time, I'm gonna lose it. And that's the other thing too, is I truly think Jeremiah brings out the worst in Belly, whereas Conrad brings out the best in Belly. Because when Belly is around Jeremiah, she's so immature and annoying, and when she's with Conrad, everything's just so much more peaceful. And the marriage of it all. Oh my gosh. There's so much to say. The cheating of it all. And don't give me, oh, they were on a break. No. That was the most BS break I've ever seen since Friends. Jeremiah, dead ass, cheated on this girl twice. And then lied to her about it for a year. And then she finds out about it. And then her brother gets in a car accident and almost dies. And Jeremiah said, oh, you know what? I'm gonna propose. The emotional manipulation is just crazy. He has just such an inferiority complex with his brother and his dad. And he's always shoving it in Belly's face, and it just pisses me off. And he gets her the most minuscule ring you've ever seen, because he's $20K in debt, yet he's willing to spend $750 on a cake. Where was that money when you needed to like buy her ring? And then at the dinner, oh my god, at the dinner, and they announce the engagement, and Jeremiah orders the seafood platter like Adam. I mean, like father, like freaking son. They're both cheaters, they're both freaking annoying, they're both horrible with money and like social awareness.
Okay, I'm currently editing this, and since filming, episode 6 came out, and I feel like it gave me like some good ideas like how to conceptualize the Conrad versus Jeremiah of it all. And it really comes down to, I feel that Conrad puts Belly's happiness and well-being first, and Jeremiah is very selfish. So like Conrad, when he saw Belly crying on the bed after the whole Laurel stuff, he, instead of going home to California, which would make him feel better because he would be getting away from all this, he decided to stay to make sure that she was okay, right? Like, he made that sacrifice. And in episode 6, he's constantly trying to make sure like that she's eating and that she's okay, because she's like really sad and stuff. And he knows that that's because Laurel isn't coming to the wedding. So even though he doesn't support the wedding, and he understands why Laurel doesn't support the wedding, he goes to ask Laurel to come to the wedding for Belly's sake. So everything he does is like for the betterment of her, and like he does so unselfishly. Like, he's not like gonna go running around telling everybody, yeah, like, look what I did for Belly, you know, like he's not like doing it to get a pat on the back. Like, he's doing it for the sole purpose of helping Belly. Whereas Jeremiah is very selfish, right? So we see that with like the cake again, for example, where even though he's the one that's $20K in debt, and now we found out he also has credit trouble, even though he's the one that has those issues, he's like demanding to get this super expensive cake, this $750 cake, even though Belly is the one that like tried to come and find a compromise to make that work. We also see it with like the wedding venue. Belly has made it very expressly clear, like she just wants a simple wedding. All she cares about is getting married to Jeremiah, like, and having the people that she loves there. But Jeremiah is so hell-bent on like pleasing his dad and like being the better son compared to Conrad, that he's willing to like sacrifice anything to make that happen, including letting Adam control so much of the wedding, having it be at the club, having it be, you know, for Adam's company. Like takes so many decisions away from Belly, and if Belly like says anything, like he starts whining like a little baby, like throwing a tantrum. And like with Paris also, Belly has dreamed of going to Paris for her like entire life, and she's finally about to do it. She's gonna go study abroad, and as soon as she shows even the slightest bit of hesitance, Jeremiah's like, yeah, don't go, I didn't want you to go anyway. Like, no, obviously he wouldn't want her to go, right? Because he's gonna miss her. But you should be putting your feelings aside for that, knowing that that's gonna be good for her and something she really wants to do, and it's gonna make her happy. So you should be encouraging her to go to Paris. And we all know that if she had that conversation with Conrad, that's what he would have told her to do. He would have told her to go. So yeah, I just feel that that's the very biggest difference between the two of them, and why Conrad is the better choice for Belly, because he puts Belly's happiness first.
And like with this wedding too, it's clearly not a good idea because everyone around you disagrees with it. Laurel isn't on board. That should tell you everything right there. And then Jeremiah tries to come in like with, this is what Susanna would have wanted. What? Huh? Susanna, who was literally captain of Team Conrad.
Okay, it's another day of editing this video, and I just keep like thinking of things that I forgot to say while I was filming this. But I want to talk about how I feel, especially this season, a lot of people online are so anti-Belly and like really hating on my girl. I can understand to an extent that like some of the stuff she does is like frustrating or annoying, but I feel like people are forgetting like she's just a girl. And everybody always brings up like, oh, the summer I broke up a family. But like that family was already broken, right? Like Jeremiah already had an inferiority complex when it came to Conrad. There was obviously all the drama already with their dad. And I feel that a lot of it doesn't even really involve Belly when it becomes between Conrad and Jeremiah. Like there was already just so much tension there that I feel can't be placed on Belly. I also I feel like everybody likes to act like they would be so different in this position, but I truly don't think that you would. Like, first of all, just like two hot brothers that you've known your entire life are actively pursuing you, and she's honestly been like psychologically trained from birth to want to end up with one of them. Truly, like since the moment she was born, everybody in the Fisher family and in the Conklin family have been like, you're gonna end up with one of Susanna's boys. Like that would truly get to you, I think, on some deep level, to the point where I think she really probably believes almost subconsciously that like she needs to be with a Fisher boy. And I don't think that's her fault. And again, like, I just think if you were in her position, it's hard to resist if like two guys are actively pursuing you. Like that can be really confusing, I feel like. And the other thing too is like, I feel that Belly gets all of the blame for like breaking up a relationship between two brothers. But for some reason, nobody ever like wants to put that blame on the two boys. Like Jeremiah knew how, number one, how Belly felt about Conrad from like a very young age. He knew about that. And he knew in season 1, we saw him perceiving that they were getting closer and that they were finally kind of broaching that topic. And he's the one that inserted himself into that and like started to pursue Belly because of that like jealousy. So I don't understand why she gets all of the blame when it comes to that, right? Because Conrad and Belly end up actually full on dating. They break up. Then Jeremiah gets with Belly. That, for, in my opinion, for him he should be the one that's a hard no for. You know what I mean? And again, like, Belly is just a girl, especially those first 2 seasons. Like, everything is happening when she is at such a young and formative age. And I feel like people also get really like mad and upset, like, oh, like they just broke up because like he forgot her corsage, like Conrad forgot her corsage for prom, which is just not the case. They broke up because of, I feel, a culmination of how he made Belly feel for a long time, which was this kind of like push and pull where he would open up to her and finally give in to like the tension between them, and then all of a sudden would pull away and close off because of the past of him like pushing and pulling away from her, that she was like actively trying to protect herself and protect herself from like getting hurt. And again, like in such a formative age, I can also see why that would follow her years later, and she would not want to open herself up to that again because that can be really painful. Yeah, these are just my thoughts. I think Belly gets like way too much hate. If I was in her position, honestly, like I would probably end up making a lot of the same mistakes or doing a lot of the same things. She's just a girl, y'all, and I support my girls. I support my girls.
Obviously, I am Team Conrad, so Conrad and Belly are going in. Susanna would have wanted this. Where I am confused is where I'm going to put Jeremiah and Belly, because on the one hand, I would put them in It's Nice to Have a Friend, because I do think ultimately they do have a good friendship. I mean, they grew up together. I think they have a lot of fun together at times, and I do think that they worked really well as friends, as besties. I think that that's like a good relationship for them to have. But watching this season, oh boy, I would rather shoot myself in the head with a nail gun. I mean, truly. Prior to season 3, I would put them in It's Nice to Have a Friend. But as of right now with season 3, it's just absolutely painful to watch. I'm gonna put them in the bottom tier. I will give them this. I do think they have the better ship name. I think Jelly is a better ship name than Bonrad. So there's that. So I think let's put this marriage to bed, and then I could put them and move them back up to It's Nice to Have a Friend. But for now, I'm gonna put them in the bottom tier. Oh, how did this get in here? Oh, this is Jeremiah and his freaking 2-tier mirror glaze goddamn dark chocolate cake. $750 cake, by the way. This is 100% your look. I mean, this is just so telling of Jeremiah's character, the whole cake debacle. And lastly, I do think it's important that we discuss this possible outcome, and that is Belly choosing Summer. This, to me, is the worst possible outcome. This would obviously be a change from the books if she just didn't end up with anybody ultimately and she chose Summer. That would just piss me off so much. But shows have been known to fumble endings before, so I mean, I'm hoping that this would not be the case. But if Belly decides to choose neither Conrad nor Jeremiah and chooses Summer, I would rather shoot myself in the head with a nail gun than have that happen. So that's obviously bottom tier. I mean, I still do hope they do the plot from the books where she goes off and has some time to herself in Paris, you know, abroad, just kind of take a breather from the Fisher boys, if you will. I do still hope that that happens, but I am Team Conrad. It is what Susanna would have wanted. She wouldn't have wanted Belly to choose Summer. She would have wanted Belly to choose Conrad. So there you have it. That is my completed tier list of all the ships from The Summer I Turned Pretty. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me re-ranking these ships. It's actually something that I'm thinking about doing again later this year with the Stranger Things ships, since the last season of that is coming out, and the last time I ranked those ships was back in like season 3. So I think I'm gonna be doing that later this year, so look out for that. And I've also done a ton of tier list videos, and I've ranked so many ships from so many shows, movies, books. So if you liked this video, go check those out. There's a playlist on my channel. And yeah, otherwise, like and subscribe, comment down below. Are you Team Jeremiah, Team Conrad, Team Staler, Team Belly chooses Summer? Gosh, I hope not. Let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching. Bye! There's a plane flying over, of course there's a plane flying over right now.